show.
Well, I'm secretly gonna hit the head first.
Yeah, go ahead. While we're, mute yourself, and then we'll all just do the intro.
Okay. The shitty intro or
yes.
Okay.
Now coming to you. I offered to do that voiceover for you. I was like, oh no, I get a professional. I mean, well, you ready for me to mute yet, or what? What are you doing?
Yeah, I'm answering a message there.
I see. Okay, you got to have your priorities.
Yeah, I do have my priorities, Phil. And my priorities are to turn off my devices so that you don't hear all my sounds. The sounds. So yes, I need you to mute, Phil, and we will begin our show. There's a show.
On rare occasions, two men of questionable morality and ethics come together to spew bullshit into microphones on the internet. This is The Secret Show, only on the big screen.
Released in its original 8mm.
That's right.
With your host, Chris York.
Skookum Cigarettes.
And co-host, Phil Poling.
It's the Bigfoot urine that gives it flavor.
You too can smoke urine-flavored cigarettes in the woods and look like an asshole.
And smell like one, too. They slide, huh?
Yeah, slide. It's like the electric slide.
The electric slide.
Yeah. So let's start this thing there, Phil.
So seriously, that was like the best you can come up with.
That's it. That's all I got, Phil.
Man,
What more do you want?
well, it's just gonna have to do.
We'll have to do. We'll have to do. Have another drink. Maybe if you had another drink, and I'll try the intro again later on in the show, and we'll see how you enjoy it later on.
That would be
my fucking microphone. This is The Secret Show, episode 5, ladies and gentlemen. The Overtired Strike Back. We will be joined by one Matt Knapp.
After he comes back from Lausanne, Ukraine.
Ed.
Les Jean Paris.
That there. What's your fake Twitter handle, Matt? What was it? Is it Mitt Romney that got nailed this week?
Yeah, I think so.
Was it Pierre Wobado? Some shit. They all got to have their fucking fake Twitter accounts to support themselves.
Some people, regardless of what side of the room you sit on in Congress, when you're dealing with like Mitt Romney and you're dealing with Bill Clinton, they both played sax. They're cool with me.
Yeah. Sure.
Both played sax.
Yeah.
You got to remember that. That's very important.
I have to.
It is important.
It is.
Okay.
Blow that horn. Oh, baby.
Blow the horn?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think there's something else you're talking about, Phil. I think you're using some innuendo.
No.
I think there's some innuendo going on.
No. That innuendo is coming from your end.
My end? Uh-huh.
One of the ends. I don't.
Phil doesn't know. Any
I
new
was just trying to make a point.
Okay. Any new breakdowns, Phil?
Yeah, the breathing tunnel in
breathing tunnel.
the breathing tunnel down in Colombia. There's some roads, some tunnel that run underneath the dam.
That's a weird one, man.
And you can actually see off in the distance something almost just up and down like this. And
how did you ruin it?
I basically said what it was. You know, what really got me was I saw that on one of those Discovery channels, and they went into it. Oh, here's this big mystery, and look at it. Looks like a cloud that instantly forms, and then like it's pulsating. And they briefly brought up humidity and moisture, moisture or pressure change or whatever. And then as soon as they did that, they go to this physicist that decided that this could possibly be the beginnings of a wormhole. And from that point on, they decided to make the whole story about traversing through space through wormholes. And the guy picked up the piece of paper and he folded it and he punched the hole through
Johnson.
So I decided, well, I better make a video because this really pisses me off. It is.
So yeah, if anybody wants to check out what it really is, you can go check out Phil's breathing tunnel video.
But it looks cool.
It does look cool.
I'm sure that
cool.
It does look cool. And even after the explanation, people will be looking at it sideways like.
Yeah. Well, even after people know it's an illusion, they still go watch David Copperfield.
That's true. But you see, instead of going to the wormhole, I went to chemtrails. See, tunnel chemtrails.
There's a chemtrail in the tunnel?
No, on planes.
Oh,
you ever been on an airplane where all of a sudden fog?
You ever been in a Turkish prison?
You like watching gladiator movies?
Have you ever been to a flea market?
Oh, shit. So, Phil, what'd you think of the show on Sunday night?
Go ahead and take that drink.
Yeah, no. Yeah. You better get another one in.
Oh, it was okay.
Yeah.
It's interesting as an observer.
Mm-hmm.
What's really cool was that I watched the whole thing. I mean, I listened and watched the whole thing.
Right.
Normally, I would pick and choose as, they're on this topic. I'll go a few minutes or whatever. This one, but at certain points, I felt like taking, an ice pick and driving it through my brain, just to escape. But I knew I couldn't escape anything. And other times, I laughed my ass off. And other times I damn near broke down and cried. It was that kind of a show. It had
roller coaster of emotion.
Well, here's the thing. And I touched on it on the show the other night. And I'll touch on it again next week when on the actual show. But I definitely fucked up. There's a couple of points in the show where I get too over emotional and I said these stupid wrong ass fucking things. And we at least touched on it before the end of the show because I felt like if I didn't, I was being a fucking jackass. And thank God Matt was there to fucking reel me in. Because if he hadn't been, I'd have been fucked in the moment. Because I knew what I did like almost right after I did it. Like comparing my own experiences to other people. It was a fucking stupid thing to do. It was just it was an ignorant statement, and I knew it instantly. And I didn't want to act like, oh, I'm just going to stand by this and act like, oh, nothing ever happened.
Well, Matt was the king of rationale on that show.
Yeah.
He really kept that ship level even after you did this to it, and it was going down like bow first.
Hey.
I was feeling a bit bipolar. It was definitely a song and dance routine.
Well, you had it on both ends.
Yeah.
And then Steve with his misogynistic approach to the whole thing.
It's such because of the cowboy hat. Yeah,
Sure.
But yeah.
I
The thing is that I knew though, Chris, the audience was well aware why you went bing 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 bing, because you can't be in the presence of the dude for any length of time, and you had 3 hours, for Christ's sake. This happened like in the last hour, didn't it?
God, no, like everything like that. When I exploded like multiple times on the show.
Well, I mean that,
but the big one.
The big one.
Oh yeah, the big one. Yeah. The big one was probably God. I think it was like midway through the show when I fucking popped off on him about being a douchebag.
This is why people don't like you.
Right. Yeah. I think that was about halfway through the show, if I remember correctly. But, I hesitated even having him on the show. Like, I had to really think about it.
Mm-hmm.
And and when I said to him, I had people message me and say, do not have him on the show. Like, people who normally don't say anything to me.
Well, let's not. I mean, I can't just let you sit here and take all the blame and self-loathing. Let's remember how he ended up on the show to begin with. It was from me losing my shit.
Oh yeah.
Whenever I found out he had written books.
Yeah, no, and hey, I'm fine with the fact that we had him on the show. I think I'm fine with the fact that I think it came off great. I think we were very objective and rational, with the exception of my couple of outbursts where I fucking went off. But hey, and for the record, when people were like, "Hey, the show was great," and I was like, "Yeah, it was great," but I fucking lost my cool, and I did this, and I did that, and those same people were like, "Yeah, but he fucking deserved it."
Exactly. I mean, everybody knew the reason for it.
And and like Matt and Steve and I were talking about at the end of the show, maybe he is just an asshole of a guy, and maybe that's just the way that he comes off. Maybe, so on and so forth. Maybe that is the case. My take on Ryan Reading is he's a douchebag. I have dealt with him privately a couple of different times, and to me, for him to then come on the show and completely act, when I confronted him about it, to completely act like it didn't happen until I pushed him to the point where he said, "You know what? It did happen." I was like, "Yeah, no, I know."
I knew the nuts and bolts of it. I wasn't aware of just how your conversations went or anything of that nature. And I really haven't had any communication with this guy.
Right.
No real contacts or anything. But on the show, it was pretty evident, I think, to anyone watching, that as he was challenged on one point, he would then expand it in an explanative. Mm-hmm. So, it's like, I'd explain it here. But what about this? And then we expanded even further. It was like he was building his story as you were questioning him about it. He was making shit up as he went along.
Yeah, I see. I personally,
and there was not one point that he did not do that. He had an answer for everything, even though it wasn't within at the beginning.
I said that to him at one point. I said, Brian, no matter what we say to you, no matter what we bring up, and no matter what facts we lay in front of you, you just manage to find another avenue,
Right,
to rationalize this. And I mean, like, the things that bother me the most about the whole thing are the people that go out there and because I've seen documentaries where people who are not professionals doing these jobs like photo analysis. You know, there are people who are they are not hired. They're contracted by law enforcement to study photos, who have no training to do so whatsoever, and who have put people in jail who don't belong there based on photo evidence. And when
actually, and other forensics as well.
Correct. And when you have people going out into the field and doing these things, and I'm not saying that a Bigfoot photo is going to land somebody in jail. I don't think that that's going to be the case.
And you get him sued for $65,000.
That's a possibility, Phil.
Well,
However,
I just talked to somebody this past week about someone who does that and is well known for doing that. I don't really care about name dropping, but I mean, look how MK Davis is seen by the community as a whole in the Bigfoot world, how he's revered for his knowledge and his expertise, whereas in my opinion, he has none.
But he admits that. I'm no expert.
He admits it on every video.
But yet, here's the thing. Even though he admits it, like, that diffusion of it doesn't change the fact that there's a great portion of people who look at his videos and go, oh, well, you know, MK Davis has looked at this and there's something here. But
he's still offering it up.
He's no fucking expert.
But what Bigfoot person out there worth their salt in standing in the limelight doesn't co-sign everything they say with, now there's no experts in the Bigfoot field. That's the first thing somebody trying to be an expert says.
Right.
You know, because it comes across as like, oh, he's such a humble, down-to-earth guy, you know. Yeah, and he says every single video he shows is a Bigfoot. What are the odds of that happening if we don't even look at the videos? You know? And MK, I don't know if he still does or not. Whenever I met him, he was working at a dog food factory. He refers to himself as an amateur astronomer. What he was doing, he had a telescope and he had some basic software on his computer where he would take photos of the moon and stars and various, you know, things in the atmosphere and he just take pictures of it and enlarge them and add color filters to them to make them stand out in more detail. And that's the same thing that he's applied to his Bigfoot analysis.
I was going to say, did he find Bigfoot on the moon?
No, I'm saying this is what he was doing, and this is what he uses to qualify himself as an expert in photo and video analysis and working with photos and videos. And he knows a little bit of jargon that he's picked up on the way, but most of his stuff has come from other people, like his materials. And then he takes those materials and says, well, now this here is, you know, a snake. Like, well, okay, because you say so. But he has a huge following because he speaks with that southern drawl. He tells everybody he's not an expert, and he hugs everybody's neck at the conference, and he's just a good old boy, you know?
Yeah, and I think that a lot of what we see in these communities is personality. Personality is 100 times everything. It is everything. I mean, beyond that, what is there?
That's why I don't have as many subscribers as I should.
Because of personality?
Yeah.
Phil, you got a personality.
Yeah, but it's a personality of a jerk. Why do you have to treat people like this?
But all the jerks like you.
Yeah.
Yes.
You have a good following. It's not like you don't have a good following. I mean, shit, your videos do get some views there, Bob.
They do.
You know?
Not as much as they used
to. Your snarky bullshit ones, that dog man one that you did. Oh, you asshole. Oh, that was so good.
Which one was that?
The one where the dog man is in the fucking is supposed to be in the little the eyes.
Yeah, right.
What is it called? It's like Dog Man for Werewolf Forest.
It is. The Willamette Valley Werewolf Forest in Oregon.
The werewolf forest. We see the werewolf.
That was fun to do.
Dude, you were so fucking sarcastic. It was great. We talked about that. Which was it? It was not this past episode. It was the
one before that.
Yeah, we talked about that for a good 15 minutes on the show. Steve thought it was great. Yeah, that's a good one. You got to do more.
The deadpan. I just call that the deadpan.
Oh, that was so good. Those commentaries. It baffles me what people will come out with like that. That video there, like that. Who does that? We're here in Werewolf. We're here in Werewolf Forest. Me and my and there's something over there.
And you notice they were both in agreement. And
yeah, and it's like
it was quite a conundrum for me when I did it, because I felt the best way to out these people is essentially just to repeat what they're saying.
Which worked.
It's like, I can see the eyes staring back at me. She could see the eyes staring back at me.
It was great. But this is the stuff that we see so much of. Is this, it's overexcited people. It's obvious bullshit. And like I've said, you've said, I'm pretty sure Matt said, Steve said before, in a lot of cases, this stuff, when it's presented as factual, it takes away from everything else. It takes away from the good footage, or the, or whatever you want to call it, the quote unquote good footage that's out there. It takes away from all of that.
I don't know.
I think that does. Now, if it's a goof, if it's a bullshit thing, then that's fine. But if there are people out there who are trying to present things that are real, and they're standing, that's where there's a line for me, where because I think it cheapens the other things, and it makes a mockery of it all. Because you don't see people out there making hoax videos about fucking scientists or researchers out fucking, checking out gorillas.
Well, I think to a certain degree, you're right. As long as, however, as long as those doing actual studies of factual evidence continues on with that and presents it, I think that's one aspect that really that does not detract from it. Unless, let's say you're somebody who makes some very good points about Prince, who has a whole collection of castings, and when it ends, and after all of this, wait a minute, and after all of this, some guy named Todd shows up and fucks it all. What happened after that? What happened after that? And all of a sudden, this good doctor, his credibility went to the shitter. After all that shit that he's done, all the good stuff he's done, examining the prints that have come in, what have you,
What are we talking about?
We're talking about Dr. Meldrum.
Okay. Are we talking about the association that he had with Todd with the
Yes.
the
Yes.
documentary?
Yes.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think that the listen, I've said it many times. I like Meldrum.
Mhm.
I have a healthy amount of respect for Meldrum. I think he, for a long time, has tried to walk a very fine line in the Bigfoot community and also still be a professor at his college. What, Idaho?
He's earned his chops. Okay.
Yeah. No. And I mean, hey, he said he doesn't like me. That's fine. You know,
But-
whatever. If he doesn't like me, that's all fine and good. I have healthy respect for the man. When I saw the association with Todd Standing
Right.
and the documentary, I did. I think it kind of cheapened him a little bit. I didn't.
Exactly.
I didn't like the whole setup at the end of the documentary with him and Bindernagel. And I didn't like the whole thing that he did there where what they were doing weren't they doing like a podcast for a while, Matt?
Yeah.
The two of them, and it was just the association it really lessened him to me. And now I don't, and now, you know, if I was to see a Bigfoot show or whatever on TV, whether it be like Discovery, or History Channel or whatever, if Meldrum was on there, I'm not going to be like, that's fucking son of a bitch.
Right.
That motherfucker. I'm not, no, I'm just going to watch
But
it.
you saw it from the other side of the spectrum, though. You know, as far as the public was aware of the other side of the spectrum. They were aware of this documentary.
Right.
People who are interested in the topic of Bigfoot. And I think they came away with it like, is this guy a real scientist? Is he, when he sits in front of a laptop and Todd Standing's right next to him and he's showing him one of the Muppet faces and Jeff Meldrum says, I believe I'm looking at a face of a real Bigfoot.
Yeah, that was the stuff where I was like,
oh boy.
Yeah, I don't know.
See, I saw something entirely different happen.
Okay.
I mean, as far as my own position, it didn't damage his credibility with me. It just disappointed me.
I can see that. No, that makes complete sense.
To me, it was kind of like selling out, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
And, you know, now you have like, for instance, you have Cliff and Bobo from Finding Bigfoot doing a podcast. Mm-hmm. And I'm not co-signing on their expertise or anything, but Meldrum's not doing the podcast with them. I'm not saying he was invited to or anything, but like there's people Meldrum could have done projects with other than Todd Standing that he doesn't. Yeah. So like he was clearly using Todd Standing for Todd Standing's publicity. But unfortunately, I see a lot of a reverse effect happening where instead of people saying like, oh, Meldrum, you know, teamed up with Todd, like what does that say about Meldrum? I see a lot of people now saying, well, Meldrum teamed up with Todd, so maybe Todd's telling the truth. Yeah, maybe Todd's right.
Giving Todd credibility.
Well, Todd approached him and
right.
The good doctor was very approachable. He used to say, I'd like to come look at your displays and talk about, you know, all of these castings that you have. Sure, come on by. I'm in here, blah, blah, blah. And he's very open to that. And I'm sure he was very open to Todd Standing giving him.
Yeah, he talks a good game.
I'll tell you, man, he can spin it like no one.
And
I mean, to us, we know it's bullshit. But to the general public, you know, and the enthusiasts out there,
he could come off as very
Todd's just trying to, you know, he's there for the protection of the species. He's trying to get them, you know, recognized. That's his only thing in this. He doesn't make a dime off anything. He spends all of his time and his hard-earned money that he scrapes together out in the field, just it's all about the importance of, protecting the species of this great creature that he knows really exists out there.
And by the way, I'm making a movie, and
Yeah. You can see me in my latest film.
I'm looking for investors.
Right. All I have to do is show them these videos and all these things.
I'm sure that comes up quite often.
Oh yeah.
And like, it for the most part, the people that are in this, they're in it to make some kind of money or name for themselves, or there are your people who are in it just to fuck around and fuck with people. There are those people.
That was me. I just did it to fuck with people.
I think it turned into something more than that for you. In the beginning, I think you're not lying at all. I think in the beginning you started out just fucking with people. I think now I think now you enjoy finding the bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
I think that part of it is you enjoy finding it. I think you should just enjoy it. Personally, I think you should find that enjoyment and just do it and stop getting pissed off at it all the time and just fucking do it. Have a drink, sit back.
I'm not pissed off anymore.
And do your little shticky fucking videos. God damn it, fucking, I love them.
But you know how hard it is to come up with a new angle for the same old shit.
Who the fuck are you talking to?
I got something I can
I
easily.
stand corrected.
I got something, Phil, for you. I got a pitch for you. I've got one that I think is good enough that I don't even want to say it on the air.
Oh no!
Ooh, wow.
Yeah.
Ooh,
I'll have to save that one for.
I think it's right up your alley too.
Show.
Yeah.
a dark alley. A dark
alley. With lots of dumpsters.
Whoa.
Rain dripping down from the eaves.
Mm.
The sound of the vent from the Chinese restaurant.
Scraggly cat chewing on a fish skeleton.
Last week.
Somebody's actually listening right now?
Yeah.
You gotta be kidding. What is this?
we have-
Rest in peace. Oh. Last week's show was the best yet. Well,
I think Hunt Fish Play Hawaii is referring to Sunday's show. The
I would like to do all those things in Hawaii.
Yes.
Wouldn't that be cool?
To hunt, fish, and play in Hawaii, yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you are the big kahuna.
I've been there 3 times.
You're just like right there by it.
I am.
It's not that far from you.
Looking out at the beach right now.
Yeah.
Of course, the tiki torches aren't lit, so I can't really see any.
I'd love to go. My father went when I was young. God, I was like 13, I think, when he went. 13, 14. And, the pictures.
Yeah, I hear the Big Island still rocks, but
yeah,
Oahu.
I don't know. I'd just like to go. I'd like to see it.
Yeah, my uncle, back in the 80s, my uncle actually was stationed there in the Navy. He stayed there for 12 years. So I always had a place to stay when I went. So it was kind of nice for me.
Yeah.
My wife.
I have never been. I'd like to.
You just got to be careful if you're going to go out and look at the pineapple plantations.
Yeah.
Don't go by yourself too far in there because they might be planting something else that they don't want you to see.
Oh.
Maui, wowie.
Ooh. Sort of like in Northern California.
Kind of like
that's like that baffles me. Like they had all that stuff open up for it was medical legally
right
for the longest time before. Now it's like completely open legal in California. But when it became legal medically in California, like everybody started growing it in all these fucking places up in Northern California. And they would like hire like private security people to go up there with guns and like drive around on the property and make sure like no one was getting into their crops and shit. It just got crazy.
That they got big.
Yeah.
Yeah, when back in the even in the 90s or back in the 80s, it was all booby trapped if you go into somebody's grow.
Yeah,
and these guys.
I couldn't believe what a problem it wound up being. Like it became fucking dangerous. To go out into like the woods anywhere.
Yeah, just to go hiking.
You might get fucking shot. So, but I'm glad it's fucking going. I hope they federally legalize it. I wish the fuck they would.
There's a lot of quote unquote recreational drugs. I think they should legalize.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm personally.
And wait, and people, this is from a retired cop.
Yeah, I'm a proponent of across the board. Just legalize it all. Let the chips fall where they may. Put the money into fucking treatment and education, especially into educating kids. And
my wife was never on the train for that kind of thing until recently. I noticed she was kind of looking at things my way when we started hearing all this crap about all the homeless people in Seattle, and Seattle's doomed and all this kind of crap, and how they're giving them free needles and all this shit. Mm-hmm. And she said, just cut them loose, save the taxpayers some money, give them all the dope they want, whatever it is, horse or whatever, and let them fuck their brains out until they die, because that's where they're heading anyway.
Yeah, and I don't know that that the solution is just give them enough drugs until they're dead. Or
socially that can't work.
Right. I think that it's going to be a kind of a social form of Darwinism where the people who are going to fall from it will fall. And it's gonna it is what it is. Is it a great thing that's going to happen to people? No, but will it happen in the way that it's happening now, where everything is done on the black market? People get shit for drugs. What you're finding in the with the heroin problem right now, where everything's fucking laced with fentanyl, it's fucking killing people left and right. Whereas if it was legal and people were getting a clean product, they wouldn't be having that problem, at least. So I just, to me, it seems like a no-brainer. But
right,
I guess.
Well, there are parts in the northern, well, I would say not Seattle, but north of Seattle and Everett in our area where police officers there's an assigned officer that goes to all of the camps, quote unquote camps, and they take social workers with them to offer them an out. You can either do this, you need to clean this up or whatever, and if you need help, I'm here. I will take you with me. We'll take you to the hospital. It's all free for you, and we'll get you cleaned up and get you back on the right track. A lot of people take them up on it.
Yeah.
There are people out there that are generally, they're cold, they're wet, they're hungry, they're begging for the next fix, and or hooking for it or whatever, or stealing.
Right.
And they're ready to get out of that shit. So this gives them something that we need more of, that kind of, interaction, I think.
Yeah, no, I definitely think that there needs to be more of an outreach for those people. Because a lot of those people just had a bad day. Or a series of bad days.
Right.
We're all like a couple of fucking steps away from being fucked. It could happen to anybody. So, I mean, it's a sad thing, and you see like the problem that's going on like out in California, especially. I mean, the homeless people out there, and I mean, I don't know, like the way that they're dealing with it is the answer to things either. Jesus Christ.
No, they're basically not dealing with it.
Right.
they've had many suggestions and opportunities to do that. The current governor, I'm not going to start bashing the governor because
Right.
It could be he may be just suffering from a little bit of ignorant shock or something, but there really is no plan.
Well, hey, he could be the governor of New York. You heard what he did, right?
What? No. What?
Throw out the N-word?
Oh no, he didn't really.
Yeah, Cuomo.
Must be a Democrat.
Jesus. Oh God, Phil, you're the worst.
I know.
You're the absolute worst. So, what do you do for Halloween there, Phil?
Hide?
Do you guys get many trick or treaters there at your place?
No.
The tiki
No.
bar.
This is a touchy subject for Phil, Chris.
Oh! This is a touchy subject for Phil.
Yeah.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah, Matt and I have discussed this on many occasions.
Oh no.
Around Halloween.
Oh no. Did I just rip the Band-Aid off?
You did. Yeah.
Matt, you tell him. I can't. I might.
Every morning at sunrise,
Mm-hmm.
uh,
I grab the ass.
Phil and his burro come down from the top of the mountain, laden with coffee beans from the Sasquatch fields. And they carry them into town to Gunnar Monsoon's general store.
And we laid them out on a giant tarp to dry.
That's beautiful.
And then comes Halloween.
Have you ever had a fresh cup of coffee?
No, Halloween, we don't do anything. We like to dress the house up on the inside, but fuck everybody on the outside. You know, we first moved here, we thought maybe there'd be a lot of kids showing up. No, they're too. It's people are too afraid to bring their kids. We'd buy a bag of treats or 2 bags of treats and end up eating it all because we have maybe 3 or 4 kids showing up at the door.
Yeah. Here is the next to nothing comes here.
Yeah.
So, but I've lived in places where it's like crazy. Where you just, if you don't have candy, you're gonna have kids like just knocking on the door whether the light's on or not.
Oh yeah, when my kids were little around here, we would just take them out to these newer communities and whatever, and then they'd be all over the place, and there'd be kids everywhere.
Well, I remember when I was younger, it didn't matter where you were going to get trick or treaters.
Yeah, that's right. They're going to show up.
I can remember like everybody at least got some. It was like you'd have your places that would get hit heavier than others, but most every house got hit by some kids. And
I don't know.
Nowadays, it's just totally different.
There's a lot of this, well, media, the way it is, it gets around. The fear thing gets around, right? Your trick-or-treat candy, the trick-or-treat candy out there is laced with drugs. Yeah. People, it's not laced with drugs. Drugs cost money.
Yes, no one's going.
Nobody's going to go buy a bunch of edibles to hand out to little kids.
Yeah, that shit ain't happening. They're expensive.
It's never gonna. Well, I mean, okay, growing up, I
can pop up a menu for you.
they would set up stations at the mall, at the different malls where you could go and stand in line and have your candy X-rayed and everything. Do you know how many times that's actually happened in history? That candy on Halloween was found with something in it?
It's so rare.
Once.
Yeah.
One time, and they believe it was a hoax. It was. A guy shoved a straight razor into an apple, brought it in. They believed the guy.
It's just
that was back in the 60s.
It's just an urban legend.
Yeah, but wasn't there one where there was an actual poisoning, but it was a family member that did it to like another
Mhm.
family member. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it wasn't a stranger's kid that came to the
No.
door.
Yeah, it was a perfect cover. Oh, he went out trick or treating and now he's poisoned. I didn't do it.
But like every year as a kid, you'd have to dump your candy out on the floor and inspect all the packaging and everything. If
Make
it was
sure you look for
anything open, you had to throw it away. You couldn't have it. If it had a hole in the wrapper, you had to throw it away. And
Yep.
there's never been anything ever.
It's that culture of fear, though. They got us with that shit.
When I was a kid, it was more about the trip.
It takes next to nothing for them to get us.
And now here, it's a very, shall we say, a denser religious area than other places in the United States. So something that's become popular here, it's all over the United States, is the trunk or treat, where churches, have members of the church come to their parking lots and they decorate their car trunks or whatever, and they hand out candy from their trunks. Okay, so this is where I'm confused. So they did this to get away from the evil pagan holiday of Halloween. Okay. So now they have kids dress up in costumes and come to the church parking lot and go car to car picking up candy from strangers.
Yeah.
They're doing the same exact thing.
Well, and they'd argue that that a lot of it is the parishioners or the congregation. So the people all know each other, by and large. But to your point, though, a lot of those groups invite other kids or people to bring their kids there.
Right. They advertise it here.
Right. Correct.
And we're talking about in Tulsa, there's at least 3, probably 4 mega churches where you're talking about congregations of like 10,000 people. So yes to what you were saying, but at the same time, no, there's no way they know each other, Right. And it's just kind of,
but they'll make the argument.
Oh yeah, they'll make the argument.
We're a community.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, they do it downtown. Bring your kids downtown, and all of the stores are going to be open until 7 or whatever, and you can come by each store and get a treat. They do that a lot down here.
And they're trying.
So it's an actual business.
Now they're trying to change the fucking holiday to a different day. People are trying to fucking
right. They don't want them going out on weeknights, and
they want to make it like last Friday or whatever,
like a Thanksgiving type thing.
I was like, Jesus. We can't just. I mean, I in a way, I get it. I get that in a sense, at least. I can understand it. However, it's not that big of a fucking deal.
Well, here's a concept. Here, they've started doing a thing called fall break. Or my stepdaughter just got a week out of school because it's fall, like spring break, except during the fall. And then she'll get out for Thanksgiving as well. So would it really just kill them to let them have like a couple days off around Halloween?
Yeah.
If they don't want them going out on weeknights and everything because they have school and stuff, the next morning or whatever. Okay, so the 31st and the 1st are just now days off of school.
I don't understand what they do in the fall break.
I don't
Screw the fall break.
Right. Do away with the fall break.
Yeah, you need to put them back. You need to put their asses back in school and learn something.
I don't understand why they didn't do that ages ago.
Yeah.
Do the whole 31st and 1st off for kids.
Yeah.
I mean, because everybody, when you're young, you get excited
instead of fall break.
Well, how is Halloween any smaller than Thanksgiving?
Yeah, I think for kids it's much bigger.
It is.
It's huge.
And now they're
fucking old people.
And now they're doing, the same thing that they've done with all the other holidays and Valentine's Day, where they're turning it into a huge marketing thing. And now you have Halloween lights, Halloween trees, Halloween ornaments, all that. People spend billions of dollars every year for Halloween. So let's just make it a real national holiday where you actually get a day off work and a day out of school.
Yeah. I think
preach it, brother.
Yeah.
I do. I think it's a good idea. I mean, it's such a huge part of our culture.
Halloween is such a fun time, and that's what it's around. It's a fun time. Thanksgiving, it's all about stuffing your face to your gut feels like blowing up and going in and throwing up and going to bed.
And then you got to buy all kinds of shit for people for Christmas.
Right. Yeah, that's the day after. Yeah. Black Friday.
Black Friday. The old Black
Gray Thursday. Cyber Monday. See, they just keep on extending it.
Oh, it's going to keep going, too.
There's Christmas stuff right now in the stores.
Right now. Mm-hmm. And commercials on TV. I saw a couple.
It's insane. When I first got out of high school, I worked for Walmart, and it baffled me like every year how much they would push back. You know, like how much the weeks when the Christmas stuff would get there, and then they would put it out onto the shelves, and they would be, or when they would be like, okay, well, start here, putting out the Christmas stuff, but put it on the top shelves. And just watching it creep, and I'm like, it when I worked there, it literally destroyed a big part of my love of the Christmas season, because how commercialized and how just it was just like, what the fuck is this anymore? It just like totally took the joy out of it in that sense for me. My kids kind of gave it back to me, which was cool, but that is just kind of sucked it right out of me. It was like, oh, it's just it's a machine. It's what it is, and it just chews it up. It's just every year. Just,
you know, the only good thing about Christmas is it is a time when distant families can get together and share time together, and that's the only real thing about it that I really like and respect. But like you said, the commercialism, people should just take that completely. No presents. We don't give presents. Our family don't, and we're not Mormon either, but we don't give presents
right
any longer. We haven't for well over 20 years now. We get together with our family, and I mix drinks. I usually make a nice.
I mean, if you want to make it like a party thing, I think that's also a good thing too. If the holiday is it's a get together where you spend time together and you do things together, that's also a great thing. You know, and I think people should do that too. I think the holidays are great. And you
need to get back to that, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. The commercialization of everything is it's cheapened everything. You know, this glamorization, there's all the tinsel and all the little, like Matt was saying, Halloween's got all these fucking lights.
Halloween trees. A black Christmas tree.
What the fuck is that?
They sell black Christmas trees and they call it a Halloween tree.
Yeah. What is
Come on.
No, I'm serious.
You haven't seen that? I'm not even joking. No, it's a real thing.
The orange and purple lights. Yeah.
We've got orange and purple Christmas lights with garland right now in my living room. That's all Halloween themed. Like the garland has little fake bats on it.
Wow, Daddy-O.
Yeah.
It's gone to a whole new level.
That is gone.
Yeah.
But I agree with Matt. I totally think it should be a national holiday. I mean, it's such a great holiday for kids. Like, kids get all excited about it. They get to dress up. They get candy. Like, fucking let them have it. Give it to them.
Go to these little parties and so forth.
Have some fucking fun.
For kids, the only thing the kids have on Christmas, waking up that morning, getting their presents, tearing it apart. Done.
Yeah.
But with Halloween, it could be a lot more involved and social with other children your own age.
But I like the thing that, we do with one half of my family is we get together and they like to do a Yankee swap. I don't give a shit. Just fucking hang out with me and say hi. I love you. I get to see you. That's great. We get the kids, everybody tries to do it for the kids. And then, like I said, they like to do that Yankee swap shit.
Yeah.
Which, it's all fine and good. But like, ultimately, I just want to see my relatives. I just want to see my cousins. I want to see my uncles, my mom, and all the kids, and see them, all be happy. And that's great.
Mm-hmm. But even way back in our history, during the colonial times, communities would gather at local community centers, whatever, and they'd bob the apples and they'd dance around these maypole type things, and they'd have these little costumes and so forth. And that's kind of that's where it came from. And now all of a sudden, we're poisoning candy.
Yeah, the thing that's lacking in a lot of places nowadays is community.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can remember growing up, and I knew like the local sheriff.
Right.
Like I knew.
Yeah, I knew the officer that patrolled our.
Yeah,
our
I knew like the local fireman.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I knew the people in the town. The people in the town knew me. You know, that's a York kid. He's a douchebag. You know, or whatever. You know, but it was a completely different thing. You know, and now it's the whole helicopter parenting, the whole like people don't people and the internet is kind of to blame for it too. You know, with
mass media.
Yep, absolutely. But I'd like to see it be different. I'd like to see a different world. I'd like to see it happy. Less negative waves, Phil.
I'd like it to be more like the Hallmark Channel.
Yeah.
Where the father leaves the family and comes back 30 years later.
Yeah.
Or
recovering alcoholic.
Or the father leaves the family, but the really good-looking guy next door comes in.
No, they're all the same. My wife watches that channel religiously, and every single movie has the exact same plot.
Oh yeah.
I know.
Oh yeah.
Like, which holiday is it? This one. You know, that's all that changes.
The time of giving. Oh, it's Thanksgiving. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
The Christmas gift.
What do you think? What are you thankful for? I'm thankful for you, dear.
I'm thankful I found you in my life.
Good night, John Boy.
On that note, gentlemen, this has been the Secret Show. What?
Wait, hold on. Yeah, play that intro again.
Okay. All right. Let's play the intro again.
Yeah.
Let's see if you enjoy it this time.
Yeah.
All right.
On rare occasions, two men of questionable morality and ethics come together to spew bullshit into microphones on the internet. This is The Secret Show, only on the big screen.
Released in its original 8mm.
That's right.
With your host, Chris York,
Skookum Cigarettes,
and co-host, Phil Poling.
It's the Bigfoot urine that gives it flavor.
You too can smoke urine-flavored cigarettes in the woods and look like an asshole.
And smell like one, too. They slide, huh?
Yeah, slide. It's like the electric slide.
The electric slide.
Yeah. So let's start this thing there, Phil.
Yeah, it still sucks.